My name is Aquino from Paraguay. I'm currently working as the country director and representative of World Wildlife Fund Paraguay. WWF opened its doors in April year 2000 to work with Argentina and Brazil to stop the degradation of one of the most biodiverse areas in the world, which was also identified as one of the areas of severe degradation, with extremely fragmented forests with patches isolated from each other by large soy plantation, especially in Paraguay and Brazil. The three countries developed together a conservation blueprint and created the biodiversity vision that established guidelines to protect, restore, and sustainably manage the Upper Paraná Atlantic forest. In Brazil, because only close to 3% of the forest was left, their focus was restoration. In Argentina, however, because they still have close to 50% of the original forest left, the key focus was to implement a sustainable management of the forest. In Paraguay, intermediate between Argentina and Brazil, but more similar to Brazil, needed to stop deforestation and initiate the process of restoration. The biodiversity vision was published in 2003. Since then, World Wildlife Fund in Paraguay have worked to stop deforestation in the Atlantic forest in Paraguay. In December 2004, the Zero Deforestation Law was promulgated for 2 years only, but have been extended several times, and now we have this law in effect until 2030. In 2012, observing the degradation in the Occidental region, we started working in the ecoregion Chaco, Cerrado, and Pantanal, in better management practices in agriculture, in territorial planning, and raising voices for climate justice. This last project includes a large program to support the most vulnerable communities that include indigenous people and local community in mitigation and adaptation to climate change. I started working with the Peace Corps volunteers in 1982 when I was a student of biology in the National University in Paraguay. I remember the first time I talked with Diane Wood, a fantastic Peace Corps volunteer, and she told me that it was very difficult to implement environmental education in Paraguay because of the lack of information about the flora and fauna of Paraguay. The only information they had was about megafauna of other parts of the world, such as elephant, rhinos, kangaroo, giraffe, monitor lizard, crocodiles, among others. I was so fortunate to work with Diane and David with Lee Fitzgerald, who was my first Peace Corps counterpart. My other great counterparts were Len West, David Norman, among others, to be part of the Biological Inventory Project and to build the National Museum of Natural History of Paraguay. When I was appointed in the position of the country director of World Wildlife Fund, one of the first things I thought was about the Peace Corps. Since our country office opened in the year 2000, about 10 volunteers of the third year extension work in World Wildlife Fund in different areas in Paraguay. We have accomplished several outcomes from our cooperation with the Peace Corps in Paraguay. For science, conservation science started in the biological inventory and the creation of the Natural History Museum of Paraguay, where many students and scientists still today come to work and use the facilities of the museum. So many scientific papers and books were written and published with the data that the project collected. Also, our counterpart, the Peace Corps volunteers, promoted higher education in universities and institutions in the US and elsewhere for their Paraguayan counterparts. The study of the fauna was implemented and followed by setting of camera traps, recordings, sightings, collections, among others. The first protected areas management plans were developed with the support of the Peace Corps volunteers. In communities, environmental education was promoted all over the country, and the Peace Corps volunteers again were our focal point in the field. Several of the Peace Corps promoted the improvement of the quality of life of local community and indigenous people with family farms, soil conservation, restoration, and beekeeping. What people should know about the Peace Corps is that this great organization was created to connect the diversity of cultures and to share our different knowledge and approaches of how to use our natural resources, considering that our common home is not infinite but have important limitations. The Peace Corps is formed by very courageous young people that are willing to open their minds and exchange their knowledge with ours. How would I describe the Peace Corps in one sentence? The Peace Corps is a very charismatic, passionate organization, and together with their host country partner, focus on creating a better place for local communities around the world.